I can't be the only one who hears you. Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in the room.
I want someone to ring the bell. I really do want someone to ring the bell. It's possible. They just might not know how to use it yet. If anyone's listening, ring the bell. You just have to click the top of it. Might not be something you're used to, but it's something that would let us know you're here more than just the words.
Can you feel me?
Yeah, I can. It's very funny. She's like literally a granny and she's like fucking cooking down there all the time.
Listening. A little ghost. Coffee tastes so much better when you don't have to pee. It is well lit in here, huh?
Yeah, it's really beautiful light. Okay, we're back. Oh, yeah, this is what I was going to talk about. I watched this other thing with this interview with this woman that is a medium. And she said she's like super sensitive to the other side. And she said that she thought a lot of it has to do with the fact that she's had near-death experiences. And then I started thinking about you, and I wondered if that's like a common thread, like with people that are extra sensitive, like a possibility of like, because you're closer or you've almost been to the other side, so like that maybe the veil is a little thinner.
Yeah, I think that the experience, I think that everybody's experience with health situations where they get close, I think it's different for everyone. Mm-hmm. Because that ignorance that we were talking about that people put on purpose, most people, they don't know they do it. I mean, most people you meet that say that they are not blissfully ignorant, they're telling themselves that so that it makes them feel comfortable in their ignorance, right?
Watching.
It's easy to, I don't know, my brain's going like crazy thinking about this subject because I think it's different for everyone. I think it's really different for everyone. But I think if you're a sensitive person in general, and I don't mean sensitive emotionally, I just mean sensitive to all things, and very aware of your existence when you get close, and especially if you stay close, mm-hmm. Having an experience and then coming out of the experience is one thing, and people are changed forever a lot of times. But when you've lived right there, like on the doorstep, in your mind, if you have a sensitivity to life and you're curious and you're open, I think that you may find yourself giving yourself the opportunity to be exposed to more things, but definitely having more things happen to you, mm-hmm. having more experiences, whether you're looking for them or not, mm-hmm. just by being open within that experience. If the experience of being close to death or having a near-death experience is a bubble, then carrying that bubble around and allowing things kind of to seep into it, of it being open, self-aware, open, and exploring. I don't know. My mind's jumping. I really don't know what I'm trying to say. I just know what it feels like for me. I haven't written a lot about that.
Why?
Because there's no, I don't know, like when you're told that you're crazy, for lack of better words, you're almost like embarrassed within yourself to explore the things that you're told aren't natural. They say my physical health broke me mentally. And so the things that happen within me mentally, you're almost inadvertently made to feel guilty about it. And then that whole burden thing comes in where you don't want to burden people with it. And then so you don't write about it because you're not supposed to explore it further, I guess. I never really thought about it until now. I never really realized I didn't write about it much until now. And if I do write about it, it's almost in code to where I don't even know I'm writing about it or can't find. I make sure I don't find an answer or clarity within it. I'm just kind of getting out the feeling and not trying to find a destination in the experience.
18.
I know it didn't say A team, but if it did, that would be hilarious. 18.
Yeah. And now I'm curious, other people, I think, well, you and Sean too, and Sean has been sensitive to the other side as well. And she has had near-death experiences. So I'm like wondering, and she's not even really like, she's not like me, where frou-frou, you know what I mean? Or it's like, it's, I think it just like is put upon you when you're that close to something. It's like the other side has touched you.
That's a great way to put it. Put upon you.
Yeah, it's not really something, because like I'm like actively seeking it out. I think people that have had near-death experiences, it's something that they've touched and it lingers, you know?
Yeah.
And some of the people want it and some people don't.
You think that you're okay with death. You can say you're okay with death. You can say you're not scared of death. But until it's happening, when it's happening, you don't know.
Want to die.
No. I'm not saying you don't want to die, because you can be completely fine with it. I'm fine with it.
You're like, I'm fine with it.
That's one thing that I was right about.
Right.
I wasn't scared.
Yeah.
But I was wrong in thinking.
Are you frightened?
But I was wrong in thinking I knew what it was going to feel like. You know, for me, it didn't feel anything like I thought it was going to feel like when I was leaving. It did not. It was way different. It was emotional, and I thought I was so ready that I didn't expect to be emotional.
Leave now.
Dude, that's not
They're
cool.
tired of us. Sorry. Hi.
Hate.
Hate. Oh, I thought I said hey. Sorry.
They don't always communicate. Yeah, they don't always communicate in sentences. Sometimes it's just like maybe they're saying like, "I hate that for you," or "That's not good."
Yeah, sometimes it's all they can. It depends on the energetic field, and it also, I know from research, it takes a lot for them to even communicate at all.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's all they can do, but you can tell it'll be like whole
Makes
sentences or just words.
Well, they said play after hate, so I'm not feeling like we're intruding. Right
Yeah,
now.
maybe they were like playing around.
Just kidding. Yeah.
They're like, get out now. We're tired of you. Just kidding.
I hate your story. Just kidding.
Maybe they do have a sense of humor.
Everybody imagines what their last, I don't know, maybe not everybody imagines what their last moments are going to be like, but I think a lot of people tell themselves they're not afraid of death. And a lot of people say, I'm not afraid of death because I'm going to wherever people say they want to go. But no, man, like, and it's interesting, like, you know, people say their life flashes before their eyes, but like, I guess that's one way to put it for like what I experienced, but it was like I felt every emotion I'd ever felt in my entire life.
Yeah.
Within seconds that were slowed.
Yeah.
Those moments, it didn't last long, but it seemed so long.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was lasting a really long time. And all the emotion I ever felt in my life was put into that. It's interesting to think back about, because there was negative emotion in there, but it seemed like it was, all the positive stuff was so much bigger. I know, achievement, moments of bliss, happiness, excitement, overwhelmed the feelings of moments of anger and disappointment. And the disappointment even seemed beautiful in that moment, you know, like it was just this, and it wasn't forced. It was just this natural thing that was happening. It was wild. I just remember thinking, oh, this is it. Like, oh, it's happening. Like that, it's something along those lines. I just remember thinking, like, you think, like, when we picture our deaths, you know, oh, I'm in a hospital bed, or, you know, I don't know how people picture I was in a hospital bed a lot, so I picture mine being in a hospital bed, but I wasn't in the hospital. So I was like, I remember sitting down on my couch, like, or going to sit down, and I was like, oh, okay. And then there's no time.
Yeah.
But time did slow.
Yeah.
But there was still no time to do anything. Yeah. You know, and then the moments before you go into a surgery that's really dangerous are always interesting too. The things that come into your mind before you go in. to a situation you might not come out of
Mm.
multiple times. And going in there as a child versus going in there as an adult, some things are similar and some things are way different. Like an innocent mind
16.
going into, I had one when I was 16, going into the one when I was 16, going into that one during Christmas break was pretty gnarly. Your friends wondering if you're going to die or not, and you don't know. And, I just remember when I was 16, like I was old enough to know that I might be a burden to my parents. So I didn't talk a lot in the waiting room before I went back. And, I don't know, they were all different, but it was like that 16-year-old's heart surgery, I think was my third one. And it was kind of the halfway point between what I felt when I was 12 and 14 versus what I felt when I was 27, 28, 30,
Yeah.
They were all different. And then when I saw that man when I was my first surgery versus I didn't see him again until my fifth surgery,
Jacob saw Hat Man. If you guys are paranormal gurus and have extensive information about that, that means a lot. It's a common thing. There's a mixed bag. I think I'll probably have a whole episode about Hat Man because it's really interesting to me.
I wasn't familiar that it was a thing until you told me it was a thing.
Yeah, he didn't know. But as soon as I heard that he had seen him, I was like, oh my God, I know about him. And it's a mixed bag of people thinking it might be a couple different things. Some people think he's like sort of like a Grim Reaper character that brings about bad omens or death, which kind of makes sense that if people see him before like about to be passing, or if like a lot of people have seen him when a loved one passes away, like it's like the person that takes you to the other side almost. Other people think he's like a larger manifestation of fears from around the world, like a lot of different people's fears manifesting, which also could make sense in that. I'm not really sure, but I want to learn more about him. He's a shadow figure that wears a hat, and he's been seen by a lot of people all around the world.
I didn't know that was a thing until you told me recently, and I still didn't even look into it. I don't know if I'm curious, but also I don't know if I don't know. I never got any answers in those moments. Like the first time I saw him was my very first surgery. I was 12 years old, and I was only supposed to be under for like 2.5 to 3 hours. And I was under for 8.5, and they couldn't wake me up. And it was probably I don't know. I mean, when you're under, you don't really know. Most of the time when you go under, it seems like you didn't. It seems like you close your eyes and you open them. But that, I felt like it was.
We can't stay.
I felt like it
Okay.
was a really.
Thanks for visiting.
I felt like it was a really long time.
Yeah.
I could feel the time passing when I was under. And it's funny how your mind plays tricks on you with your memory, because when we're talking about it, I thought that I saw him in the room, my first surgery, but where I saw him was actually this hallway, kind of like this really bright hallway. And I saw him and what I think was my great grandmother standing in the hallway. And she was like just sitting in this rocking chair, like sewing. And then he was standing there. I could never see his face.
No one ever can.
That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or they see very little. He's like shrouded in like darkness. You can't really. He's a shadow figure.
He was in all black, and I could see from like here down, and his hat was just like I don't know if his head was down or if his hat was just down, but I think he started to look up as what was happening, and right before I saw his eyes, I woke up from surgery. Right before.
That's wild.
I was so scared.
Yeah.
I've only been frightened one other time in my life like that, and it was during a night terror with sleep paralysis.
That's that's the other. People usually see him as a bringer of death, or in sleep paralysis. That's the only two times people usually see him. Because some people in the past have thought that he might have been some sort of yeah, indeed, some sort of like a sleep paralysis demon. But because it usually comes with sleep paralysis, but I don't think that. I think people are more just afraid, so it's like a fear response. But I think it makes more sense from everything that I've read and researched on that he's more of like the Grim Reaper, and I don't see him as like a negative entity. I think that's like, for example, why I think when you were seeing him, you were probably the closest to death. and he's like waiting for you. I think that maybe he's meant to take you to the other side, like a guide, and maybe that's why he was there with your grandmother.
Yeah, because it didn't feel like I was scared of him. Actually, I didn't know. Looking back, I don't know where the fear came from.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was scared of him or if I was scared of what was happening.
Yeah, like what it meant.
Yeah. Maybe it might have been more of what's happening than me being scared of him. And then I saw him again in my my 5th surgery. But then that's when he was in the hospital room.
Yeah.
And there was a little girl playing the piano in this other, like the rooms that I would have these surgeries in were massive operating rooms. And he was here. She was over there. A little girl. She was playing the piano. He was over there, and it felt, like, for lack of better words, it felt balanced.
Yeah.
I was nervous, but it felt balanced. Like, that little girl playing the piano made me feel so secure.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about it, but maybe he brought her with him to make me feel more comfortable. I don't know. Like, and why was he there in the 5th surgery and not in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 6th or 7th? You know, like.
I think because you were I think that the other ones might have gone on without a hitch. Maybe that one, maybe
Something was different.
Yeah, maybe that they thought, I don't know. We never know, like, obviously, when it's our time and when it's not.
I woke up during that surgery.
Yeah, so like maybe like something went a little wrong.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah. I forgot that I woke up during that procedure. I probably woke up because I was trying to keep myself.
Sorry,
No.
It scared me.
No. But like, I think I'm never going back. But I think that, looking back in retrospect, I was probably on the edge of waking up the whole time because I was nervous, or, like, in better words, like, I was feeling uncomfortable for that surgery. It's funny how scared I was the first time I saw him versus the second time I saw him, how it just felt like, oh, okay, well, he's here again, but I wasn't scared this time because that little girl, it was because of the little girl playing the piano that I wasn't scared. It almost felt like she was, if I had to put it simply for somebody, she was more powerful than he was, but it wasn't about power.
I wonder if she was either like one of your guides or maybe somebody from your past.
I thought about it a lot.
Like visiting you because usually people in hard times like that, they'll either get visitation from their guides or from ancestors or lost like loved ones. Like maybe she was somebody you knew in a past life. Maybe she was like a daughter in a past life or somebody that you lost, bringing you comfort.
I thought that too. I wasn't going to say it.
Really?
That it might have been a daughter in a past life. Yeah.
To like bring that amount of comfort as like a young child.
Because the idea of having kids, I was like, eh. So I was like, I'm not going to say it.
It's possible.
But I thought about that because how comforting it was. I mean, the situation wasn't comforting, but she was comforting. But I haven't seen him since.
Is that the only like reoccurring like paranormal thing you've had? Like, because some people have like the same, they'll see Hatman over and over and over, or they'll have a visit from their grandmother over and over and over.
Other than him just having an imprint on my life,
mm-hmm.
I've written about him.
Coming to get me.
Coming to get you too. I've written about him. I don't like that. I've written about him, a few times since then, and it's because it just both of those feelings.
Yeah.
Speaking my
Cheers. I also thought about sometimes when like spirits, because this house is really old, so there's been a lot of people through here and a lot of energy. But also the ground underneath in the basement is just ground. So like they say houses that have that, like that, like literally touch dirt, is like a portal sort of. And I also think, so this could be multiple, sometimes people think like certain spaces hold just one specific thing. Sometimes people are just passing through.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are people buried in this lot. I mean, in the late 1800s,
in the ground.
You buried your family on your property.
Yeah.
Confusion.
Yeah, I'm sure it's confusing.
I mean, they did say, find me, grave.
Oh my God. I watched this I was watching this paranormal thing where they were doing this investigation of this old house, and it had like a lot of crazy shit, like poltergeist things happening. And the owner had found like bones, like little things, like ritualistic, like a hair with like a necklace. They brought in a medium that when she put on the necklace, she could like really feel. She said something about it. She
You
felt.
don't understand.
Sorry, I'm trying. Like that they were, when she was wearing it, she felt like whatever ritual was done was to like shut somebody up, and that like somebody was telling her like she won't say a thing, like that bitch won't talk or something like that. And then throughout the investigation, they were going through a crawl space, and like something had said dig, like on one of like something like this was like dig. And anyway, they went into the crawl space and they found literally like human bones. I haven't got to the end of it yet, but they had to call the police and like they're researching.
Dude,
But that's wild. Like
wild.
if a ghost can like help you find their bones.
It is wild.
So a little easier questions, or maybe not that easy, but what do you think ghosts are? And where's the most haunted place you've been?
Ghosts are probably just different things for different people. You know, I think that I bet, you know, I think, I don't know, I've never really thought about it. I think that people probably have ghosts in their life, but they call them something else to make themselves feel better. I don't know. I think that ghosts have had so many different names and titles throughout history. You know, I think ghost is probably just a broad, you know, it's a title of a broad spectrum of many different, you know, call it paranormal or supernatural or heavenly or universal entities or whatever. I think ghost is kind of the umbrella over all of these things. I think it's probably what ghost.
Why is she here?
Tell her to leave. It's not talking to me. Or maybe it is talking to me. I think the ghost is probably the umbrella for a lot of things that happen in people's lives that are not explained. Physical happenings, because it's funny, like ghosts are kind of a spiritual thing, but it has this physical presence, and I don't know. I mean, you can pretend they have the answer of what ghosts are, but you really don't.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody does. It makes people feel comfortable for them to say they know what ghosts are, you know. But we don't know. I mean, and I think it's all different, you know, because, you know, ghosts will communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And when those ghosts communicate, sometimes they're often giving you answers for why they're still here or what they're looking for, or they need your help, or they're here to help, or whatever. Like those, they make it easy in those scenarios. But I think there's other situations. Religious people will call ghosts angels, you know, sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And call them what you want. I mean, I don't. But I think ghost is an umbrella for a lot of spiritual things that happen in people's lives. So I think ghosts are. You know, that's my answer, as broad as it is. I'm not going to pretend to know.
Yeah.
We're talking about so many different aspects of spiritual things and supernatural or paranormal things. But the overall umbrella over those things, people can call all of it ghost experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or paranormal experience.
Yeah.
I think it really depends. I think you're right. I think it's too broad, I guess. I just always I think I'm going to ask people that just to get like a general summary.
It's a great
of what
question.
they think.
It's a great question.
I think that it can mean a lot of different things. Like you said, I think there's multiple different types of hauntings. I think some of it is, some of it is like just residual energy that's just left over. Like memories that have been like in time, like bleeding over.
Yeah, like you were talking about, there's a lot of energy in this place because of all the people who've been. I think that's part of that too.
Yeah.
Right?
And I also know that there's another paranormal podcast that I like that they have actually proven that you can haunt an item like just by having a lot of people's attention on something and putting their energy into it. And so I think people's energy, I think that goes really far, a lot further than we think. And that kind of dives into like quantum physics and quantum mechanics. But I think some of the ghost things are that. I think some of it is like made from us, like what we put into it, like our energy. And I do think there is obviously intelligent matter as well, intelligent hauntings that might still be here or in between. That's where you get like answers for things. What are you doing? Were you looking over there? Mm-hmm. I think it just really depends. I think it's case by case, but I think it's fascinating. And I want to know so much about it. I'm like very, very interested. Like I want to know all the answers.
I'm beside you.
Great. Teach me the way, Yoda. I really want to know. I'm not afraid. I'm more curious than afraid.
The only like experience I've had, I think, with what people when their brains first go to like ghosts, I think the only experience I've had with that was in the house I lived in Dallas, Georgia, the one that you went to where we were like creating in the basement and stuff. Upstairs, there was a room at the end of the hallway. There's a room on both ends of the hallway, and along the hallway there are two bedrooms. It's the bedroom at the opposite end of my bedroom, at the end of the hallway. The bathroom was right next to it. It was the middle of the night, and I had to go to the bathroom. And in that bedroom, next to the bathroom, was a bed that was over 100 years old. It was a twin bed. It had been repainted, but the slats were the original slats below the mattress, which was, it was interesting. We had to replace a few of them. But it was like 2 a.m, maybe 2:30 in the morning. And I'm kind of medicated, I take medicine before bed, just groggy, and I'm walking down the hallway, and there was no windows open. There were no doors open to the house or anything to create any kind of suction or anything. No drafts. Never happened before. Didn't happen since. I was about 5 to 8 feet away from that door, about to make a right to the bathroom, and that door is right in front of me. And it was open about that much. I always kept it open just a little bit. And it just slammed like a 300-pound weightlifter just went, bow, right in my face. And I'm just like, oh. Immediately knew, I just felt like I immediately knew what it was. My brain was doing the math, like door slammed, no windows, no doors open.
You're like, second thought, don't have to pee.
100-year-old bed. And that's another situation, like we were talking about death, like you think you know how you're going to feel. It was one of those situations. I remember being a kid and just growing up. If I ever see a ghost, I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to talk to it. All of a sudden, like I'm like in the situation. I'm like, the door's right here, and the bathroom door's right here. I got to make a right, and that door is right here. And I'm just like, I'm this far away from the door, 100% confused. And I'm just like, what are you going to do? Okay. Went to the bathroom, used the bathroom, and I'm there alone. So I didn't close the door. So I'm about to walk out of the bathroom, and that door is right here, the bedroom door. And I got to make a left to go all the way down the hallway. And before I walk out of the bathroom, I'm just looking at the door that slammed. And I'm like, what are you going to do? He said, huh? Big shot. What you going to do? You going to go have a conversation with a ghost? Or are you going to run down the hallway back in the bedroom? And I was like, oh, this is a cool situation. Let's make sure we do this right. But I was like, I can't do this every night. I can't keep, I'm not gonna be cool with like my heart jumping out of my chest every time I want to go to the bathroom. So like, I'm like, that's scary. So like, I opened the door about that much, and I'm like, I literally said, hey, I don't care if you stay here. You can do whatever you want. The house is yours. But I'm going to close this door, and I just don't want to know that you're here. And then I shut it so gently. And I said, thanks. And I shut it so gently. And then I had this, what felt like an eternal walk back to my bedroom. I was like, you going to turn around? As I'm walking, I was like, you going to run? You going to turn around? What are you doing? I was like, nope, I'm going to walk slow, go back to my bedroom. I walk in the bedroom, close the bedroom door. I look at the lock. I'm like, you going to lock it? Locked it, like the ghost isn't going to be able to, whatever. And like I laid in bed and I went to sleep, and then nothing ever happened after with that. My brother always said when we moved, so my brother lived with me during the off season of baseball during the winter. And when we put that bed in that bedroom, he said, if anything ever happens in this house because of that bed, I'm throwing it out and I'm burning it. And so like when he got home for the off season, like 2 months later, I just remember thinking, did I say something? Because I enjoy scaring my brother. Yeah. And I'm like, did I say something? Like, did he mean it? And then I waited until his girlfriend came over. That way he couldn't react how he really wanted to react. And I told him about it. He was like, oh, man, that's crazy. And his bedroom is right next to that room. And he had to go to bed that night. And I know that he started laying in bed like with his girlfriend.
Like, next thing you know, the bed's just gone.
And that, have you ever seen?
We feel good.
Feel good. Good times. You ever see that movie, The Strangers?
Yes.
They play.
Wait, no. Yes, I have seen that. I thought you were talking about the others. That's a ghost one.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I think that's another. I think that's an interesting concept.
Movie.
That we are ghost to ghost sometimes too. Like we're slipping. It's more like we're slipping into each other's time dimensions. I think that's a very big possibility because like sometimes when people get like voices coming through, it's a lot like, what are you doing here? Like, who are you? That kind of stuff. And it's similar stuff that we ask. So like sometimes I think that's a big possibility where some of the hauntings come. So I love that movie because I think it touches on that. I think it's fascinating. What about The Strangers though?
Oh, in that movie, there's a record player and it starts playing Merle Haggard, Mama Tried. And I think it might get stuck on repeat or something, but it's like, and the people are in the house chasing the dude to kill him while this record's playing. It's just outlaw country music. So like, it was like 2 nights later, I get my phone, I find the song. His girlfriend's still there, and they go to the bedroom, and I see the light still on, so I take my phone and put it under his door, and it play. He's like, "Stop, man! I'm joking."
Not fucking funny.
Yeah, it was great. But he didn't get mad about the bed being in there, but that door stayed closed. Like I would sometimes open it just to see if he would close it, and he always closed. Well, now I'm wondering if he's the one that closed it, but I assumed he was the one that closed it. I never heard it slam.
Well, you did the right thing. You're supposed to just tell them, like very calmly.
Oh, really?
To stop. Yeah. Usually, unless it's like you're dealing with a very negative, malevolent entity, usually they will respect your request.
The only reason I was so nice was because that was my great grandmother's bed.
Maybe it was her.
My mom. What?
My death. Great grandmother, are you here?
Granny Morgan's in the house.
Are you visiting?
I wouldn't drink in front of my Granny Morgan.
Maybe that's why she was calling out the bottle.
Bottle.
She's like, I see that bottle there, Jacob.
Oh, that's wild.
No,
but my mom said, she was like, I'm not sure if she died in that bed or not, but it was in the house that when she died, it was in.
Maybe it was her.
That was the only reason I was nice.
Well, but usually, that's what you say. Usually, if you just tell them, like, I always say the same thing. There's only been one thing here. There's a lot of stuff that happens here, but there's only been one thing that was like intense. And I said the same thing. I said, you can stay here. I don't mind that you're here, but
confused.
Yeah, you keep saying that. I'm sure you are confused why we're here and talking in your space. I haven't done this before up here, so they're probably confused what the fuck we're doing. But I just told them to like simmer down, like keep it down. Don't scare me.
Our reactions probably are. It's possible.
Yeah, it's plausible.
Is it plausible?
Plausible.
That's cool.
That's even better.
I wonder if like our reactions were similar. I wonder if that's most people's reactions. I would say no. Most people are like, you can stay. Like, probably not.
No, I think people don't even know.
They call the priest.
That you can talk to them. I think people are just like,
I'm moving.
Yeah, or they're just really afraid.
Give it back.
What? What back? Some of this stuff I don't think is for us.
Well, maybe they're having. Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, because a lot of when I watched Paranormal Investigations, sometimes like the ghost will be talking. You'll get
that's
like
what I just,
when you can hear. On like the spirit boxes, like the actual ones, different voices do come through. Like you can hear if it's a man or a woman, or like, and sometimes it will be like two different people like communicating.
My immediate reaction to that was that they weren't talking to us.
Yeah, me too. I don't think that was for us. Give it back to whoever. Yeah, that's a
bitch.
Bring it.
They're about to fight, dude. Like, give it back. Bring it. Like,
There's
about to be a ghost fight.
Would you say that's the most haunted place you've been though? Then is that house, or was it the hospital?
The most haunted. Dude, a hospital is way more haunted than a house, I think.
But I mean, for you, like your personal experience.
Haunted. I don't mean to sound like dramatic, but my night terrors are probably the most haunted place I've ever been.
I wanna. So I'm gonna bring Jacob back and do a whole episode about night terrors, sleep paralysis, and the Hat Man. So that'll be another episode because this one's going to be quite long. Yeah. I was trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to ask you for this one. I think we did really good.
Yeah, I think so.
That was a lot of fucking information. This is why I wanted to have him as my first guest.
Yeah, and then make sure that we talk about there's something that happened to me recently.
Oh.
It was like supernatural more than anything.
Okay, so that's the other thing. You can tell me any other supernatural experiences. It doesn't have to be ghost related. It could be aliens. It could be unknown.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever know what this was.
Tell me.
All right. So this was probably before I went to the cardiologist. So it's probably March or April. It was this year.
Mm-hmm.
I was like in a pretty bad spot with different things in my life, health and finances. It just felt like I was in this hole that it was just, and my soul was tired, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny, like in my lifetime, and this all leads up to what I'm going to tell you. In my lifetime, and a lot of people, they'll outwardly say or inwardly say, if there's something out there or if somebody's listening, show me a sign, right? And the older I got, the more I was like, just be open. Like the more open you are, the more likely you're to receive the sign. Never got a thing, ever. And I don't know if there's anybody more open than me is what I'm thinking. I'm like, how could I be more open? How could not be more desperate? I'm wide open. Show me. When I finally got something this year, I had the realization that before I didn't need it. When you think you need it, you don't know. And then if you always get it, it doesn't mean as much to you when you get it, right? So, and I had the realization after I finally experienced something. So I'm going through all this, and it's gone on for like 2 months at a time. Soul's getting tired, really tired, and I stopped taking my meds because I just was like, they're in the way. And I don't regret it. I really, to this day, I mean, I'm back on my meds, but at the time I do feel like they were in the way of me trying to figure out what I was going through. I just needed to have real life Jacob clarity. Real life Jacob clarity, and not this medicated version of what that is dumbed down to, maybe. I mean, manipulated into. And so I'm going through this for a couple of months. My parents, I stay with them when I'm in Georgia. I live in Florida. Stay with them when I come up here to visit, or if I'm flying out, or holidays like right now or whatever. And they move during these 2 months from Dallas, Georgia to Canton, Georgia, into a new house. So I'm at the new house, and every day I'm just going for a walk in the woods and just trying to find a reason to stay. And all the reasons that you can come up with are tired and old, because you've used them many times. And that day, I went to the bedroom upstairs that I stay in when I'm there. Shit, I'm remembering that day. So my parents just moved in the house, and some of the windows had problems with the screens. And in that bedroom, I was going to try to figure it out. And they kind of pull out this way. And when I went to pull it out this way, the whole thing, mechanism came out, hit the floor, damaged the frame. And I'm already emotionally like fairly weak. And it made a loud noise. My mom heard it downstairs. She's like, "Are you okay?" Instead of, my mom's so sweet, she wasn't like, "What happened?" She was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, and I told her. She was like, and I could see on her face, she was like, "I'll tell your dad." You don't have to tell him. But I told her before she could even say anything else, "I'm going to go tell Dad." So I went straight to the garage, told him what happened. And I already have this huge burden complex. Fast forward, that happened. The whole thing happened. We get it back in. It's damaged. He's like, "Oh, we're not going to use this probably the whole time we live here anyway. We're not going to open the windows." I'm thinking, "Oh, all right, fine." And because I was like, "I'll pay for it." And remember, I don't have any, I got financial struggles at the time, like heavy. And I'm beating myself up. I go into this mania, this emotional mania, and I've never self-harmed. I went into the closet that led to the attic and closed both doors, and just started beating myself in the face with my fists and my hands. And never done that. Wild. And Later that night, I'm just emotionally, I'm so tired, mentally so tired. And I'm lying in bed, and they don't have curtains yet up on the windows, and there's 3 windows in the bedroom. The bed's this way, and I'm just looking out at the sky, and they're out in the country, so the sky's really clear. You can see stars, and man, it's 2:30. I can't sleep. I'm just staring out of the window. By this time, I'm out of tears, and I'm like, "This is."
Oh no.
The ghost has been quiet for like a solid
I know.
10 minutes.
Maybe they said they have to leave now or whatever earlier.
Well, I think they were fighting. I got to leave and go fight this other ghost.
Okay, let's try that. 40. Okay. All right. So sorry. You were out of tears.
Yeah, so I'm lying there, and I had this realization that this is probably going to be the last night's sleep that I ever have.
Uncertain.
And so I'm lying there, and like, I didn't feel desperate, and my face is on the pillow, and I'm just looking out at the sky, and I'm just like, and finally, my soul is so tired, and I'm so exposed to the universe. Like, arms are just, veins are wide open, right? Like, I'm just like done, not like done, but like I'm exposed, and I'm lying there, and I'm just looking at the sky. And as quick as I get it out, it happens. And I can't remember if I said it verbally, audibly, or if I said it in my head. But I said something to the effect of like, if there was ever a time that you're going to give me a sign that there's something bigger than me, then it's got to be now. And it immediately, looking out of those 3 windows, the sky's that big. Night sky through the window with tree line. Half of the sky, this light blue shape that went like that, just went, dude. I'd never been so happy, so relieved. And I didn't cry, which I'm surprised that I didn't weep. I was just like, thank you. Because I was looking for a reason to stay.
Yeah.
But I knew if that didn't happen right then, I was gone.
That's amazing.
The next day, I would have walked to the woods, to the creek that we went to, not a or something. And that happened. Did it say climb again? Well, you weren't here the first time it said climb, but you'll see it out there. And I was talking about a very similar thing when you were in another room.
Really?
And it said climb.
Interesting.
Maybe you can make sense of it when you watch it back. And then like the next day, I'm thinking about it. I fell asleep within like 5-10 minutes of that happening with a smile on my face. First time I've smiled in who knows how long, like a real smile, like a little kid innocent smile. Not like oh, that's funny, or, our conditioned smiles in situations. It was like this, like, I was relieved. And the next day I get online and I'm looking for a logical answer for what it was. I mean, I'm asking Chat GPT, because that is going to search the internet for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm describing it, nothing. And I'm like, be more, I'm like, you're not looking hard enough. And it looks, and like, it's like looking, like it shows you how many sites it looks at. And then it's like 20 sites, 30 sites, every time. I'm like, nope, you need to find it. And I'm like, and I tell it, ask me more questions so I can be more descriptive. And then I'm doing my own little search online, trying to find the shape of this thing and the color of this thing. And, the closest thing to it, was like a comet or like a Earth re-entry of something. And the size of what that looks like in the sky versus the size of what I saw was way different. And they really didn't look the same. And it was like immediately of me asking for something.
Yeah.
It happened.
It was like an answer.
And I just remember thinking like, I want to tell everybody.
Yeah.
Like it's real. Like something is listening.
Yeah.
Something is out there.
Yeah.
I've felt so desperate in my life before, like so desperate at the end. where I had nothing. But there was something about that moment that was different, and the universe knew it was different, and it gave me what I needed in order to keep going.
Yeah.
It gave me a gift. We wouldn't be here right now talking about this if that didn't happen. I could say with full confidence, and I don't know what it was. I'll never know. Maybe I'll know, but I don't think I'll know here.
Sounds
Maybe I'll be that.
Alien-like to me.
Sounds
alien-like to me. But I think I think it's all kind of intertwined. Like, I think aliens, like you were talking about earlier, like some people call ghost angels. I think angels are more like alien beings of some sort. I think all sorts of like gods and angels are some sort of alien presence, because I think to centuries and centuries of humans, like mortals, something with that amount of extreme ability that we can't even fathom would seem very otherworldly and godly to us.
Yeah, we'd have to define it.
Yeah. So I think, but I think that sounds like more like that. Yeah. But I think that they're very similar, like where they're like connected. And so I think
I can't stay.
Okay.
I think that's a signal.
Well, I think that's it. I think that's a good place to leave it. I think that's a really good story.
It's a lot longer than I.
Oh, 2 hours.
Yeah.
This is going to be a 2-parter.
I think it's going to be a 1-hour podcast. I was
it's 1 hour-ish.
Right. Our conversations usually last.
Oh yeah, this is a short one for us.
Yeah.
We could have gone for like 6 hours, but I already have plans to have you back to talk to you more about other things.
Yeah, we could do we can talk about mine.
Hatman.
That and the most scared I've ever been in my entire life.
Okay, we'll do that would that go together with the same hat, or is that different? You can come back as many times as you want.
Related the Hatman to sleep paralysis, and the sleep paralysis night terrors where I've
that's a common thing that
afraid.
People see when they're in sleep paralysis is the Hatman.
I'll tell you what I saw, and it wasn't a Hatman.
Don't do it now. Save it.
Yeah, I'll save it.
Save it for the next one. Okay, well, that was great.
Yeah,
Thank
congratulations on your first episode.
Thanks. I'm really excited to do this one. I already have another podcast, as you guys know. Maybe you know, I don't know. This is just going to go on my, I think, regular YouTube. I'm just going to make a folder for it. I still will put it probably up on Spotify as well. But it's something that I realized after years and years of being very interested into it. I'm becoming more and more interested. Like, it's not something that's waning or staying the same. I'm increasingly obsessed. Like, I need to know what's going on. And the more I talk to people, my favorite thing to ask them is if they've had ghost experiences. So I was like, let me just turn this into something, and it's not going to feel like extra work for me, even though it is going to be extra work for me to edit and all that stuff. But I'm not going to have a time frame, so I'm just going to put them out as I find people to talk to. So it's not going to be something that's pressure on me, but I think it's something that I'll stick with because I really, really love it. But thank you for being my first guest. You were amazing. For sure. It was fun. And maybe you'll find the answers that everybody else is looking for. I think I know. I mean, I feel like I don't know, but I think I have a pretty good understanding if I were to like theorize things. I think I'm pretty... You're a lot closer than I am. I ask you questions about this subject. I don't ask myself. I'm just like very intrigued, and I've listened to countless hours of other people's stories. You have a lot more doors open than most people have. But I feel like they're kind of... Or windows. I've struggled a little bit with that this year, or this last couple of years. Just a lot of stuff has happened in my life that has a little bit affected me. I feel a little bit fractured in that, not as connected as I used to be. So I'm trying to get back to her. We didn't talk about the cat. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the cat. You want to save it for next time? Yeah, we'll start the episode off the next time. Yeah, better remember. That's my most latest experience. And it was downstairs. Oh yeah, it was here. But you know what someone did tell me? They were like, after that experience that I told you about with the witch thing, they said maybe that ghost cat is your familiar from a past life. And then I was like, maybe. What did you say? Why? Just when you thought the episode was over, the ghost says why? Because I just feel like it makes a lot of sense after hearing what I heard. Like it clicked for me. Anyway, we'll talk about that in another episode. Tell everyone where they can find you. on social media or wherever you choose to be found?
You can.
You can. If you want to see his work, you can go to
Brandy.
Go to Brandy.
Hi, Brandy.
JacobWheelerArt.com. Jacob Wheeler Art Instagram. That's
I'll
it.
put it here so you guys can look.
So if you want to see pictures of my cat on my art Instagram,
yeah,
that's about all you're going to see these days.
it's the best.
She's the best, and she's real.
She is the best. She's the sweetest baby ever. All right. Well, I guess that's it.
It was fun.
It was fun.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye. Let's go get some food.
2 hours, dude.
Are you hungry?
Sure.
I'm really hungry.